So Wally and the Rogue started off as enemies, then they became allies, and now I think they're going to be enemies again. Support this comic book series by visiting your LCS. My name is Dorian, this is S.T.A.R Comics. We continue our coverage of Absolute Flash, number 16. Our story starts off in Montevideo, Colorado, and it's like in an abandoned strip mall. And we see a rat, or a mouse. I think it's a rat. And then we see Grodd, and he chases after it, and he catches it, and he goes, "Friend," and he hugs the rat. But he hears something that scares the hell out of him because he goes, "Eek," and he drops the rat, and he goes, "Friend." All of a sudden, there's these laser scopes that are all over him, and somebody goes, "Target acquired," as they look like SWAT, and then Grodd goes, "Not friend," and runs off. He runs to this place and goes, "Papa, Papa," and the big ape is like, "Grodd," and Grodd's like, not friends, bad men." There were two SWAT guys that were dead on his ass. One throws 2 canisters of tear gas. The other one's like, "I got a bead on him." All of a sudden, Grodd's dad just goes, "Rrr," and all you hear is blam, blam, blam. So then we cut to Detroit and S.T.A.R Labs, and Wally has Ray Palmer's notebook, and he sees that Ray knew all about the Steel Point and what's below, and then there's like a dark side symbol. So we're getting closer and closer, people. We're getting closer. So then he remembers what his future self told him, that it was already too late for his dad, that Thawne took him down to the below point. So then he's like, I need to show this to Linda, even though she's going to be pissed at me. Well, all of a sudden, he gets a psychic distress because Grodd is technically screaming in his head. So then he says, "Grodd," and he takes out his cell phone and calls Linda, and she's like, "Well, look who needs my help." He's like, "Linda, look, I think I found something very important I want you to see. But before we do that, I think Grodd's in trouble." And she goes, "The monkey?" So he's like, "Where are you?" And she goes, "I'm in Iron Heights. I'm in a park." And she's like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "Right behind you." And he goes running right next to her. So Linda's like, "What are you doing? Someone's going to see you." And he goes, "Do you want me to help find Grodd or not?" And she's like, "You know I'm all in when it comes to that monkey." And Wally's like, "Actually, he's an ape." She's like, "Nerd," as they take off. And she's like, "I'm still pissed at you. Still mad. But if I get to pet that monkey, it almost makes up for what you did." So while Wally's running, he's telling Linda about what he found at S.T.A.R Labs, about how Ray Palmer knew everybody, how he knew Thawne, how he knew Barry, how he knew Mirror Master, and how Ray Palmer's notebook might be a way for them to find Thawne. So then Linda's like, "So where are we going to try to find Grodd?" And he goes, "Where else? Colorado." And she's like, "Man, why don't we just move here?" So Wally's like, "After what happened at Fort Fox, I knew Grodd left, but I don't think he got too far away from there. So he has to be still in the state somewhere." So the Linda busts out her phone and she shows something going down at that abandoned strip mall where cops are all over the place there. So they run over there. So as soon as they get there, there's nobody in the cop cars. And Wally's like, "Where are all the cops at?" And Linda's like, "I'm getting weirded out." So then they go into the strip mall and Wally's like, "You need to stay close to me, Linda. If something happens, I'll get you out of here in a flash." And she goes, "Flash? That could be your code name." And Wally's like, "What do you mean code name?" She's like, "It's good for your brand." And Wally's like, "What brand? Like, I'm not trying to sell anything." And Linda's like, "Trust me, it's good for your brand." So then they see a cop and he's just standing there and they're like, "What's wrong with this dude? He's acting weird." And then Linda's like, "Officer, are you all right?" All of a sudden he turns around, he's just growling and his eyes are like green and he attacks Wally. Wally sidekicks the bejesus out of him and Linda's like, "Why are they moving like that?" Because they're moving like apes. So Wally's like, "Linda, we gotta run. We gotta get out of here." Because there's like a bunch of these like mind controlled cops. And as they're running, all of a sudden Linda goes, "Oh shit." As they run into the SWAT team, who is also being mind controlled, but they're not moving like apes. No, they're shooting like killers. As they start blasting at Wally, he picks up Linda, he starts running, and he's dodging most of the bullets, but one bullet catches him in the calf. He falls down, drops her. She like hits the wall, and she's like knocked out because she hit that bitch hard. He's trying to wake her up, and the SWAT team's like, "All men bad." All men Grodd. All men Grodd. And all you hear is rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. Wally's like, no, as he can see the bullets coming at him. And all of a sudden, Grodd comes out of nowhere and stops every last one of them with his telepathy or his telekinesis. It's telekinesis. I'm tired of people saying, oh, the difference between telepathy and telekinesis. I get it. Leave me alone. I get it. So Grodd makes the SWAT team drop their weapons. And then the Grodd comes over and talks to Wally. And he goes, who is this? And Wally's like, my friend. And Grodd goes, Wally friend is my friend too, as he picks her up with his telekinesis and carries her to safety. So Wally's asking what's going on, like what happened and who are those men? And Grodd's like, bad men attack Papa. And Wally's like, oh, you found your dad? Like, that's good. Where is he at? And then Grodd points and to where his dad was at the beginning of the story. But now nobody's there, but there's all kinds of blood on the ground. So Wally's like, look, I need to understand exactly what happened here. So then Grodd puts his forehead against Wally's forehead and he shows exactly what happened. How the two SWAT members came in there with the tear gas and it was drawn down on Grodd's dad. Grodd's dad instantly took control of their minds, had them turn their weapons on each other, and all you hear is rat-a-tat-tat. So that was them getting shot. That's their blood. So then Grodd's dad is dragging the two dead SWAT men. Grodd goes, eek, eek. He goes, quiet, Grodd. All of a sudden, the rest of the SWAT team catches up to him, and Grodd's dad just mind controls everybody. And I guess Grodd is like a central name for all these apes. Like every ape is named Grodd. So Wally's like, where's your dad now? And Grodd's like, Papa near. Papa is everywhere. And then all of a sudden Linda wakes up and she goes, Wally. Wally goes, hey, how do you feel? And she's like hell. And she goes, wait, the monkey. And she goes, Grodd? And Grodd's like, Wally's friend. And she's like, oh my God, he's talking in my head. That's cool. And Wally's like, yeah, he does that. So then she sees that he's been shot. She goes, oh my God, like we gotta stop the bleeding on this. And he's like, don't touch it, it hurts. And she goes, quit being a baby. You only got shot. And Wally's like, how many times have you been shot? So she tears off this rag and then she goes, don't worry, we're gonna fix you up, Flash. And he goes, quit calling me that. And then she turns on, it's like, what happened to Grodd? All of a sudden somebody in the darkness goes, shh, they're going to hear you. They're everywhere. As we see somebody has a hold of Grodd and they have a knife to his throat. And then we see he's a trickster. And she goes, I'm sorry, kid. There's no other way. We got to kill Grodd. Now, are they talking about the big Grodd? Or are they talking about little Grodd? Or are they talking about just all Grodds? Either way it goes, this is not going to sit well with Wally. And they're going to be enemies again.